Right. So, hey everyone, it's Max Notice, the host of Recruitment DNA. For those of you who are new to the show, Recruitment DNA is a podcast hosted by Wade and Wendy where we discuss the ever-revolving recruiting landscape. This week, we have a very special guest on the line. We have Stacey Olive, who's the VP of Talent for the New York Times. So, Stacey, thank you so much for joining me on the show today. It is such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. It's great to get to join you on the podcast. I think that you're doing some really, meaningful work in the recruiting space to share news and information. So I'm very happy to join.
Well, you're coming from an organization that has a tendency to share news and information as well. So power to you too.
Thanks.
So that being said, it's obviously been a transformational moment for the New York Times. You crossed 5 million digital subscribers back in February, and yet with everything going on, your website traffic is still up 50% since then. So how is your team responding to these rapid changes?
The changes are rapid. I agree with you. And it's part of our digital transformation. So all of what you're seeing is coming together with our digital transformation and its continuance. We as an organization are aiming to be, of course, in our subscriber base, subscriber first. And so that is our business strategy and our approach. And that shows through so much of what we do. My team and I have the great honor to get to partner with so many of our impactful teams throughout the company, including the newsroom, including our advertising team, including the tech team. And so we plug into the mission, we plug into the growth and the business strategy, and we find the right talent to align to help us reach our goals.
That's fantastic. But so even going along with that, the crisis is such a visible part of the New York Times' current messaging and mission, especially giving free access to all the coronavirus coverage. Has your recruitment messaging changed at all? How has your overall strategy been impacted by everything going on?
There's a lot that we're doing right now, and I'd love to kind of, explain that. So the recruiting team, we're having really meaningful conversations with candidates about how we're supporting our employees through this time. The fact that the New York Times is still hiring. We don't want people to kind of feel that, we want them to know that we're still a great an employer of choice. And we want to kind of, reassure them that we're committed to supporting remote work. We're not in a rush to get people back into the office until it's safe to do so. And so, when you combine all of that messaging, I do think it strikes the right tone with, someone who would want to work at the New York Times, someone with the right skill set that we would love to employ. And it's a responsibility I feel that we have as a recruiting team to really paint that picture to candidates. And we're happy to be one of those companies that's still hiring through all of this, when so many companies are having a challenging time right now.
Yeah, you're not kidding about that one.
There are so many layoffs right now, aren't there? It's every day I get news of them, and it's sometimes hard to take. It's hard to see.
It is. And especially when the New York Times is also such a focus of the news of the economy of companies that are laying off. You guys are often the first people to be reporting it. So interesting to be doing it there.
Yeah, we do keep a good pulse of the labor market. Our coverage, I enjoy the coverage myself. I am a consumer of the coverage of the Times, and we've always been, very good about covering the labor market, what companies are doing, what their priorities are. And so that's going to continue. But right now, of course, we're really providing readers with, even more in-depth information about what companies are going through during this time and during the decline.
Wow, that's a big responsibility for your talent team, even to maintain that integrity as well.
Yes. I mean, we are a team that takes a lot of pride, like I said, in plugging into the mission of the New York Times. So that means a lot to everybody to work for a company that is mission focused, and that translates in so many ways. That translates in the authenticity that we come across, to job seekers with in our messaging. in how we work together, in how we advise hiring managers, during the interview and hiring process. But, it also, the dedication to the mission also comes into play as we onboard candidates and as we kind of try to acclimate them into the company, and letting them know that we as an organization are acutely aware of what's happening in the world, and we live our mission, that there's a strong connection to it. So, and I think there's a moment now where people do want to tie their things that they believe in and things that are important to them to their work. So if you are a software engineer, if you're a developer, if you're a product designer, and you would like to work for a company that really has a strong mission, I think that that's something that we absolutely offer, and we're proud to be in that position.
That's fantastic. So I actually want to go along with that about mission and integrity. You've been a major champion of growing diversity at the Times, and as you mentioned, you're on the talent and inclusion team. So how have your D&I strategies changed over the past month?
Yes, well, they continue. I have to tell you, our approach and our strategy with diversity and inclusion on the recruitment front, so in attracting, acquiring, and helping to hire ever more diverse talent, we have a strategy that we've had in place now, I want to say, for the past close to 3 years. So there are a couple of interesting highlights. We are one of the companies that does report our company diversity data publicly. And, so really proud to be doing that. We have been recognized by the Anita Borg Institute as one of the top companies for women in technology for 3 years now. 3 of those years that I've been here. So that's exciting. That's really neat. That really means so much. But as far as the team and their approach to diversity recruiting, we have approached it from a fairness standpoint. And so what that means is that our hiring process and the way we approach hiring and making those decisions has all elements of fairness weaved into each part of it. And so we, every candidate slate has to be diverse. Every interview panel has to be diverse. So we have decision makers that, have, gender diversity and ethnic diversity. And we really don't make hiring decisions without having those elements in place. And that's meant a lot. And our leadership has empowered my recruiting team to do that. So we, at any point, are able to remind teams of our commitment to having diverse panels and diverse slates, and just having that approach. And it's been something that the company has been working with now for quite some time. So it's kind of, I like to say it's a bit of a well-developed muscle for us and the recruiting team. And I find it's something that people are proud of. They enjoy working on for an organization that's not just saying that becoming more diverse is important and is a goal. We actually have a plan, an approach, and we execute on it. And we're refining and building on it as we go along as well. So thinking future state, even thinking about things at the leadership level that we can do to continue to grow, at the more senior ranks, grow our diversity at more senior ranks. Let's say, for instance, director and above, and thinking about different hiring approaches there. We haven't set quotas. We really haven't decided that. We have decided quotas are not the right approach for us as a company. But like I said, really everything with a lens of fairness and requiring lots of various inputs into the hiring decision.
That sounds really intelligent. When it becomes baked into the process, you don't have to worry about a quota. When it's a problem, you really do have to set one. It almost seems like. So can I ask another question? So what's in your recruiting team's toolbox? What's essential to the team right now? Are there any, trends in hiring technology that have you excited today?
Yeah. One thing that was really always very important to us was to have job descriptions written that felt like they were fair and they would be attractive to everyone. And so we took some time to evaluate the external tools that are out there around drafting inclusive job descriptions, and we decided to work with a company called TapRecruit, who's been a really engaged partner with us, and every hiring manager in the company has access to that tool, and they can use it at the front end when they're thinking about their job description. They can make sure that they're really thinking broadly about words and an approach to the job description that would be attractive to, men, women, people of different ethnicities, and really just, so that's an important tool for us, I would say. I'm also proud of the work that my team has done on creating our internal tools and our internal processes. So utilizing tools like, GitHub, or, that's not an internal tool, but we've created, let's say, processes and websites and approaches internally that we can access and that we can build on. So that's another kind of tool that I'm glad we're using. I would say that we've enjoyed using human predictions to help us kind of get to the right candidate contact information that we need to have to reach people directly. So there are a couple of tools. We a lot of what we do is organic. I would say we're not overly tool reliant, but we've identified a couple of key ones for important areas as we work with them.
That's awesome. So I want to ask you another question about just being with the Times. So how does your team work with the newsroom? The Times has been such a hub for reporting trends on recruiting and hiring practices and layoffs. Does your team have a relationship with that side of the organization?
Definitely. There are members of the talent and inclusion as well as recruitment team at the New York Times that, we work throughout the entire company. And of course, the newsroom is such a, is the reason that we're all here, because, we all work at the New York Times to support the mission. So there's a team of recruiters and folks that support newsroom hiring. They would hire for, editors, reporters, sort of graphic specialists. They work with the team on the daily to hire for our audio groups. So there's a number of areas within the newsroom that we absolutely support and working, and it's really an area of excitement. I would say among the team, we're always interested to hear what the key roles are in the newsroom, and they're always really exciting. So, and the newsroom is continuing to hire through all of this.
I can only imagine that they are. There's more and more news coming out every day.
Yes, the news cycle right now is it's at a level that that you would rarely see, but it's a really fast-paced news cycle right now.
Oh, I'm well aware of it. I think everybody is. All right, now, Stacey, my last real question for you here. We're both New Yorkers, and while a global publication, the Times is ineffably New York. How has working there affected your relationship to New York, especially at a moment like this, with the region under such an intense spotlight?
Yeah, New York has, unfortunately, I think due to our density as a city, has been, as we all know, impacted kind of more gravely than any other state. And the hospitals have been overwhelmed, and people are feeling really the fear of contracting the virus. So it hasn't changed my relationship with New York much, I would say. I love the city. I've worked in New York for more years than I'll care to share. But I'm rooting for our city. I'm rooting for us to recover. I'm rooting for us to be the New York that everyone has come to know and love, and hoping that we can move past this. I think that the best way I can sum that up is to say that I'm really rooting for New York to recover from this in all seriousness. Yeah.
We want our New York back.
We do. We totally do.
All right, Stacey. So that's pretty much all I have on the docket here today. Any questions? Any shout outs? Anything else you'd like to leave the audience with?
Oh my goodness. Well, I would like to share, with my sort of fellow colleagues in the recruiting industry, just to thank everyone for the work that we're doing. I think when you recruit, inherently you're doing, I think, really good meaningful work because you're helping people to find jobs that are more challenging, jobs that grow their career, and really, providing that sort of, mobility to people in the job market. And so I think that recruiting is noble work. And right now, with it being remote, we face some really interesting challenges as a field. And my team, I feel, has embraced it. And I just would like to offer encouragement to everyone out there. If it feels like a tough job to have right now, a tough hat to wear, you're still adding value and really doing something that people need.
Awesome. Well, good words of wisdom to leave us with. All right, Stacey, thank you so much for stopping by. Such a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you again, Max. It's really great to see you again, and best of luck with the podcast.
Oh, thank you very much. Best of luck with things.
All right, take care.
Take care.